boxer in the blue corner, representing Armenia, Vs.Bazeyan.
Here is Paalam, 25 years old. Lost in the final in Tokyo to Britain's Galal Yafai. That was in the 52 kilogram class. This is 57. Suffered a shoulder injury in Buster Arsizio in the first world qualifier and had to retire against Shukur Ovazov. But he exacted revenge against the boxer from Turkmenistan, winning by unanimous decision on Tuesday. Bazeyan also boxed in Buster Arsizio. Lost his second bout, but he's already come through 2 contests here. Beat Malaysia's Mohamed Razdanal in his opener and came through a tight one against Youssef Ishaish of Jordan, having lost to him at last year's World Championships. So both men who have had successes avenged previous defeats, and now they face each other here. And form book suggests that Paalam should win this. Apparently he's still carrying this shoulder injury. You'd know all about carrying injuries going in contests, John.
Still carrying them just now, Rory. I think it's they always come back to haunt you the next day, and you think, I didn't know that bruise was there, or what happened to that muscle or this ligament. Or so those injuries can mount up. And also for Carlo Paalam, of course he comes in as the form favourite, and it's not just injuries that mount up, there's also a bit of pressure, there's expectation on him. Of course, as they say, pressure makes diamonds, but can he find the cutting shots early? Because it's incumbent upon him, silver medalist. This is not the territory he thought we'd be in on the road to Paris. You mentioned that fight against Galal Yafai, of course, who's went on to great things in the pro ranks. He's stuck it out in the amateur ranks, and he's obviously now got to use his quality and get through this one, because Bazeyan, as you would expect, good fundamentals, good footwork, and will know all about Paalam's strengths.
You mentioned that pressure. Philippines, boxing mad nation, as we know, so there would have been a fair bit of pressure at home.
Many of them will want to win.
That's
a knockout blow. That's worse than an injury. I think that's a standing count that's there for that one. He's Pacquiao and his punches in here. Paalam on the front foot.
Of course, Manny Pacquiao was talking about perhaps competing in Paris, but he's over the age limit. You have to be less than 40.
Incredible career. Obviously, he's a decorated fighter and congressman as well, but trying to lay down the law at the moment. Bazeyan, who's on the back foot, the man in blue.
Interesting that mention that Paalam going up from 52 kilograms, and just looking at the two, Bazeyan looks the bigger physically. It just looks a bit of a bigger unit, but Paalam did a great head movement there to avoid the shots from Bazeyan, who doesn't look to have the same speed as the Filipino.
Yeah, no question. As you say, Paalam coming up from 52 to 57, that's a big jump. That means you've got 12, 14 pounds to play with as you boil down a little. Of course, Bazeyan coming down the other way. And as we mentioned, it's not always the size difference that matters, it's being able to use it. And as you can see, it's all about Paalam at the moment, because you can't miss. Bazeyan doesn't have the quickest of feet by comparison.
Bazeyan did get through with the jab there for the first time, trying to unload, but Paalam gets out of the corner. Just signs that Bazeyan might be finding his range here. Neither man's landed great scoring shots so far, but Paalam has been the one to, you'd think, be on top so far, but it's one of those rounds where it's not decisive by any stretch.
No question about it, Rory, and sometimes when you come in with the reputation and the big medal, people's eyes are drawn towards you, and if you're in, obviously, Artur Bazeyan's corner, you're saying, OK, whether we get the round or we don't, you've had a very effective round. He's certainly given Paalam plenty to think about, but the head movement, the slick skills, a little bit of, pocket picking there from Paalam. Let's see what the judges think.
Well, 3 judges giving it to Paalam and 2 to Bazeyan, and all to play for in the next 6 minutes. But just got the feeling that Bazeyan just found his range a bit as that round progressed, because he was missing a lot early on.
And often that comes down to expectation. You're a little bit unsure, do I go, do I not, how do I find my distance? When you then are not as, none of these have hit anybody, you know, they're hitting the top rope more than anything there, but that is a signal of Bazeyan's intent there to say, okay, I'm not intimidated by you, I'm not worried by you. However, marginally, Paalam there with just a couple of power shots, and that can maybe give you an indication of what the judges, those specific judges, are looking for.
Any sport where there's judging, there's an element of beauty being in the eye of the beholder, and but Bazeyan certainly not out of this, and if he can pick up where he left off in that last minute of round one, he's got a chance of getting back into this contest. Doesn't want to drop this round though, because then he'd be right up against it in round three.
Not just dropped the round after he's thrown his jab, he's not pulling it back, he's leaving a space over the shoulder. That's now the third time that Paalam's filled it with a good strong right hand. So good adjustments being made by the Filipino so far.
Yeah, you mentioned that right over the top, scoring plenty of points for Paalam. Missed that time. It's a wild swing there from Paalam, but Bazeyan unable to capitalise.
Also a sign there that Paalam is just sitting down on his punches now, swinging for the fences, and after Bazeyan will need to keep his head moving. As the ref steps in there, a little warning.
Approaching the midway point of round two. Nice exchange, and Bazeyan trying to get to work on the inside. Get the feeling that Bazeyan just wants to rough Paalam up a bit and get in the inside, maybe a bit of the dark arts, get a body shot. He took a punch there which caught him off guard.
I think you're right, he's trying to make it as awkward as possible, but in doing so stepped out to admire his work for a moment. Carlo Paalam was ready and waiting with that big hook, and that's another eye-catching shot as well there. Nice little straight jab. Bazeyan doing his best to make things as awkward as possible. Needs this round, of course. The power differential beginning to become obvious now towards the red corner. Big shot again.
You just feel with Bazeyan, it's just all a bit straight lines, isn't it? And Paalam working the angles that bit better. He's got the speed and the foot movement. A couple of wild swings again there. 30 seconds to go in round two. Bazeyan needs something big at the end of this one. And he's just been countered. It's been countered by the quicker Filipino. And again.
Yeah, the big arcing shots from the Armenian. Bazeyan just sailing past and leaving spaces. And a very, very accomplished round there from Carlo Paalam. Embracing the occasion, and you can see sometimes we get drawn, of course, to the hands of the fighter and what they're doing, but the feet, the good movement results there in another close round.
All five judges giving this one to Paalam, not much doubt there, and he's 2 points up on 3 scorecards. So Bazeyan, as we saw in our first two bouts, he's in a situation now where he needs something big. He needs a 10-8, or more likely he needs a stoppage if he's going to progress, and you'd say that was unlikely.
No, I would agree with you, Rory. It's more likely that he needs it, but it's highly unlikely that he's going to get it, because it's just a difference you can see in the legs of the fighters. We get drawn to their hands, but the feet, the movement, but also the power across the thighs and calves of this man here. He's really sitting down on his punches, and every time Bazeyan is taking him, he's feeling it. There's a big thing, there's a kind of energy bar going down every time he's taking it, you know.
Final round is underway, and Paalam, if he knows the score, he'd probably not need to get in so close and risk being tagged. He I was expecting him to be on his bike at the start of this third round, but still seems intent on mixing it.
I think you're right, and I think it's also that experience. He's not going to get, he's doing a bit more now, getting up on his toes and moving, but doesn't want to be seen to be too defensive by the judges, so they can then make a decision. We've seen his head movement as well, and he knows that Bazeyan likes to be awkward, so in any fight you want to be too far away or too close, and at the moment he's going for the latter.
Bazeyan did get through with a couple of shots there in close, and see him charging forward, but I think Paalam's seen that all before. Paalam with the head low. Not getting any clean shots. He's a hard man to hit, Paalam.
Yep. And as the time goes, it gets even harder. You're chasing shadows now. Big breaths in, sucking in oxygen from the rafters as Bazeyan trying to get anything going. And all of this is, he's trying to kill time here because he's tired. And that's obviously playing right into the hands now of Paalam, who's looking busy without actually being busy, which is just the most effective way to get this 1 minute and 10 done here. You'll probably see another couple of flurries, catch the eye of the judges like so, and then close the door on the ambitions of Bazeyan.
Yeah, the Armenian looks a little out of ideas here. He'll keep coming forward, of course. There's an Olympic place at stake, but he's got a bit too much to do, and against superior opponent, although he's trying, he just got through there. You just saw him on the inside, and you just thought he just needs to start really going for it, and just couldn't unload. He's got cut on the eye as well now. Don't know if that's from a punch or a clash of heads.
Seems to be on the outside of the eye, and as you say, it's either one or the other, but more than likely it's from a previous bout where he's, you know, battle weary. Mercifully we're into the last 30 seconds or so, and it's running down the outside of his eye, so he'll still be able to see. However, you can see clearly now that the task ahead of him, you've mentioned it, Paalam's got the quality, and that quality counts in the end, doing what he wants when he wants to do it. Clash of heads is the signal, and the clash of the two fighters, Paalam very much on top.
Inside the final 30 seconds. Both boxers have been warned a few times for holding, and now what's going on here? It's a point deduction for Paalam. Now that makes things interesting, perhaps.
The referee not happy there. It's something in terms of the process of the fight, but as we move into that, well, the bell goes. Shouldn't make too big an influence on the overall outcome. But a little bit of a surprise there from the ref intervening at the end there. Both men seem to be just running in, especially Bazeyan, leading with his head a little bit. Had to go for it.
Did look to be 6 of one, half a dozen the other, but it's Paalam who got the point deduction. Now, if Bazeyan gets that final round,
yeah, get the calculators out.
It becomes a tie on 4 of the scorecards, and he could possibly win it, but be interesting to see. I mean, I thought Paalam might have done enough to win the last round anyway, so it could be academic. But
yeah, even with that point deduction, it might just end up they've tied that final round there. But well, interesting to see. Let's have a listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner by split decision in the red corner, representing Philippines,
Paalam progresses despite that point deduction, 4-1. So I think that would suggest that Bazeyan, you've certainly got the last round on one of the scorecards. With that point deduction, it would have put him ahead. But you can see the disappointment for the Armenian. That's his Paris 2024 dream over. But Paalam is marching on, and he's into the quarterfinals of the men's 57 kilogram class. there was that shot that rocked Bazeyan. It was in round 2.
Yeah, one of many highlights there from Paalam. He had the precision. As you said, well, the road to Paris ends in Bangkok for Bazeyan. However, we'll see plenty more. We'll see the confirmation of that close work there in that final round, Rory.
Yep, 3 of the judges giving that final round to Paalam and 2 to Bazeyan.